Good morning. Thank you for joining us on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Sitting in is Riley Jensen. Now, we've picked up a local football team. We've expanded. We've got the locals in the state, and I think this year and in the subsequent coming years, who knows how long we'll go, that Michigan football has become a big local story. Obviously, with Kyle Whittingham taking over the head coaching job. And not just that, bringing in a number of guys that have Utah ties. Jason Beck is a coordinator. He was the coordinator. He worked for Ronnie Mack at Weber. And then obviously he was backup quarterback to John Beck at BYU and the offensive coordinator at Utah. He's going to be the offensive coordinator. I think he's a rising star in the business. And you've got Coy Detmer, who is Ty's nephew, who was a quarterback coach here last year. Doug Elisaya, he's the what do they call it? The director of football sports performance. I mean, we usually call it the strength and conditioning. Gennaro Guilford, longtime BYU guy, is the cornerback. Jim Harding, longtime offensive line coach for the Utes. Jay Hill, defensive coordinator. And let's see, you got Kenny Niumatalolo's son, assistant tight ends coach. Lewis Powell, been here forever.
Isn't Kyle's son's the tight ends coach?
Yeah. No, Kyle's brother, Freddie.
But his son is coaching there.
Alice's linebacker coach. Micah Simon played at BYU, coached at Utah, is the wide receiver coach. So there are so many strong ties.
Luke Batari, the kid that subbed in.
He's Chris Stapleton lookalike guy?
Not anymore. He's got a nice haircut. He's all cleaned up now.
Oh, because, it's time to be an adult.
I ran into him down in Newport Beach this year. And he's like, I was actually like staring at his tat. I'm like, that's a really good tat that guy has. And I was just kind of staring at him. He's like, Riley? And I'm like, Luke? Because I didn't even recognize him without the long hair. Now, when I did quarterback training for him when he was in high school. Uh-huh. And that's how I'd know him.
Sure.
He went to the same high school as Tom Brady.
Oh, cool.
So he's from Northern California. And he's like, Riley? And I'm like, oh, dude, Luke, I was just about to compliment you on your tattoo. I didn't even know that was you. And I go, you're all cleaned up. He was awesome.
Oh, you got to grow up. You got to get a job. You got to play by the rules.
Well, if you knew Luke, though, like the Luke Bryan thing, I think it was more of a persona thing. Because if you know him as a person, attention to detail, very, very, like, he wasn't a 6'5" guy, so he's never going to get everything you want. But as far as like knowing how to play the position, knowing like what football is all about, I mean, he's going to be a great coach someday.
Cool.
Fun guy.
Good. Wish him well.
It was good to see him. That was the last, and I was standing there with my son, so I got some street cred with my son because I'm like, hey, that's the assistant quarterbacks coach for Michigan. He's like, it is? Because, he didn't have any Michigan gear. I mean, obviously, he's not recruiting. He was on vacation before the season starts.
Yeah, I got you.
And he's like, he coaches for Michigan?
Yeah.
So
there's a ton of Utah connections, state of Utah, BYU, and even Weber has a connection there with Jason Beck. Just your initial impressions of taking a bunch of Utah guys, essentially, plopping them down at the winningest school in college football history. Where, I've been back there. I don't know if you guys have been back there. I've been back there a couple of times. My wife's mother grew up there, so I've been back for personal reasons beyond work. I've been back there for work a number of times. And, wow, I mean, you can't get any bigger than that.
Major blue blood program.
Initial impression.
So the initial impression is this. I don't think, and there was a part of me when the whole thing went down with Michigan and Kyle had just resigned. I'm like, dude, they're going to go get Kyle. Like, and this was before anybody, like, said anything. Kyle is the perfect fit for what they need right now. They need 5 years of like clean, above the board football. Yeah. He's going to bring stability. He's going to bring the old fashioned Michigan toughness to the program. Like everything that they want, they're going to get out of this staff. And he doesn't have, like, I know so many of those guys that you just named on their staff, like none of them are problem children. Mm-hmm. Like there's not going to be issues off the field. Like this is a great staff. They know how to play football. They know how to coach football. They brought in some really, really great players. I'm surprised they didn't get more BYU players. They hardly got any. But they stole a couple of very significant University of Utah players. They've got a great coaching staff. My initial impression is they're going to hit the ground running. Like, this is going to be a team that's in the conversation, if not this year, next year for the national championship. And I think this is a perfect fit for Michigan. And I think what's really interesting, and we'll talk to Jay, in the next hour here, I think it sets up perfectly for Jay to be the head coach there.
It does. If not him, Jason Beck.
Right. But one of those two are going to be the head coach at Michigan after this, because they're gonna see the success, and people aren't going to go. Well, they're going to be like, we don't have to go anywhere.
Right.
This is Michigan. It's all in place. I can't say enough nice things about a lot of the guys that are on staff there. This is a great move for Michigan. I think it hurts Utah for a couple of years. I think it hurts the University of Utah, and I think it hurts BYU for a couple. Both of those teams, it hurts them a little bit. And here's let me tell you what my theory is on some of this stuff. So you take a good defensive coordinator, or you take a good offensive coordinator, and I think they're a plus or minus 2 for your team.
What do you mean by 2?
So
2 wins, 2 points?
So what I mean is 2 wins. I think if they're really, really good, they get you about 2 more wins per season. I think if they're really, really bad, they get you about 2 losses per season. And if you're average, you're just about where you would be. I think Jay Hill is a plus 2.
Certainly wasn't Provo. And it was
Does
Weber.
that make sense? So I think that BYU has to overcome that. Now, I'm not saying that Coach Papinga isn't going to be great on defense. I have a lot of good things to say about him as well. But does he have all the nuanced ability and all the ability of play calling and all the different things that Jay Hill has? He doesn't yet. He doesn't have the accolade. He doesn't have the experience that Jay had. But he certainly had 2 years to watch a guy do it for really, really well.
No question.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't know how far the drop-off is there, but I do think Jay Hill's been a plus 2. Now, on the other side, you go to the University of Utah on the offensive side of the ball, and I think he was a plus 2. I think Coach Beck was a plus 2 as an offensive coordinator. And I think you have to overcome that. So I'm not saying, these teams aren't going to make a bowl game. They're not going to be competitive. They're not going to be good. But I do think they have some coaching deficiencies to overcome. And I really like Kevin McGivern. I like him. I think he's a journeyman coach who has done amazing things at schools that don't have half the athletes the University of Utah do.
Right.
I mean, he's been at San Jose State. He's been at University of Utah. I mean, I think he was at San Jose State last, and he had that wide receiver that led the nation in receiving. He knows how to call plays. He's going to have an opportunity with some really good players and a really good quarterback right now to make some hay and to make a name for himself as well. Mm-hmm. So I know the original question is, how's the fit? I think it's fantastic. I think University of Utah and BYU are going to do great, but I do think there's a little bit of an adjustment there as far as coaching goes.
Any concern about just being in a different environment that is foreign? I mean, all these guys, when they got these jobs, they'd been trained in the so-called, just the familiarity of the location.
Right.
They knew what to say. They knew how to behave and everything. And and they knew all the high school coaches because they've had deep roots here.
I think it's tougher to be a really good coach in Utah because it's more nuanced than it is to be a really good coach at any school in the country because there's not as many moving parts. Like you got the missionary program when you're coaching in the state of Utah. You got the Polynesians that are significant contributors to college football in the state of Utah. You've got people in the state of Utah that love to see local players play, but when you're trying to build a national program at Utah or BYU, it can't all be built around local players, right? So I think it's a little bit more nuanced to be really good in the state of Utah. I think it takes a little bit of pressure off of them at Michigan.
Okay.
And I think the one thing that has been interesting to me is that they have enough confidence in themselves at Michigan to bring a kid from the state of Utah in that they know is a top-level player. They brought the Moa kid in from Fremont. They have some players that they're still bringing in from the state of Utah, and they're like, hey, people just don't know it, but kids from the state of Utah, when we know A, B, and C about a kid, we know he can play national championship type football at Michigan.
Yeah, I can understand that.
So I think it's less difficult. Now, the pressure is different. I think the pressure is different than University of Utah. If they don't win,
You look at, Riley, that when the Utes went to the first Rose Bowl, I talked to countless amount of Utah fans. I mean, that was an unbelievable game, right, with Ohio State. And all Utah fans, everyone that I spoke to, they had the time of their lives. That whole time down there going to the parade, it was like a dream come true. And it didn't matter that they lost. And I get it. I agree with them. It didn't matter. It was an unbelievable game.
It will at Michigan.
That's what I'm saying. So you're not going to get, wow, we had the time of our lives, but we lost. No, you didn't. If you didn't, I was in the Rose Bowl in 1987 when the Sun Devils beat Michigan. And you could see the looks on the Michigan people's faces. They weren't very happy. You know who the quarterback was then? You may have heard of him.
Harbaugh.
Yes.
Jim Harbaugh.
Of course, I meant the quarterback for Arizona State.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
I don't know who that was.
Yeah, a forgettable name, but a guy named Jeff Van Raphorst, who is
He did play in the NFL for a bit.
Who is the radio analyst for the Sun Devils and still living off that 1987.
Amen.
Because he's the only guy who won a Rose Bowl for the Sun Devils.
Ride it.
Yeah.
Ride that thing.
That's his claim to fame. And I went to that. I was living over there. I just moved over there and went to that game as a fan. And so, yeah, the pressure that they haven't had, the scrutiny.
There's going to be a high level of scrutiny. But here's the thing. It's not like Kyle's cutting his teeth with like new coordinators and that he's a new coach. He's not going to make the mistakes that he made in year 1, year 2 as the head coach at the University of Utah. He's going to make the right decisions.
But, and I listened to him. He did an interview the other day because they all got in earlier in the week for Big Ten Media Days in Chicago. And Rich Eisen is a Michigan guy, apparently, was interviewing him. And I'm thinking, I'm driving home after work. I'm thinking, this is going to be fun. And Rich says, what's it going to be like when you put the headphones on in the big house?
And Kyle's like, it's like any other.
I already did that during spring football multiple times. He wouldn't have of it. He wouldn't hear it. So
that part, I'll tell you that part, and I know we probably need to get to a break. It is interesting to watch all these high-profile interviews that he now gets.
Oh yeah,
like it just seems like it's happening like every week. He's on with
certainly
Rich
when he
Eisen.
got the job, yeah. It was.
And like I'm just like, holy cow, that guy used to be at the like yogurt shop over in Fort Union. Do you know what I mean? And now I'm like, oh, he's on TV again with Rich Eisen this week. And it's like, even though Kyle had that persona here, like you would still see him at normal places around here. And it wasn't like, people weren't up accosting him and like,
no.
I don't know. I'll bet it's a little different now.
Yeah.
I'll bet there's places in Michigan he can't really go and like enjoy just a normal life.
Okay, just like Riley said, Jay Hill coming up later. That later is right now after the break. Jay Hill will join us. Stay with us, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, really? That's great.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
I can't have any more? Why not?
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Joining us now on the KSL Sports Zone is Michigan defensive coordinator Jay Hill. Jay, good morning. You're on with PK and Riley Jensen. Appreciate your time.
PK, Riley, what's up, guys?
Yeah. Well, obviously you're a busy man, so we'll get right to it. Here's the way it works. In the beginning of December, I got word that there might be a decent chance Jay Hill would be the BYU head football coach if Kalani went to Penn State. And by the end of the month, well, that didn't happen. He is the Michigan coordinator. Wow, what a whirlwind month, man. And as you look back, how crazy was it for you?
Well, Decembers are always crazy for coaches. Now, because you got the portal, and also that's such a time for coaching hires and jobs and interviews, and it's such a crazy month. And this one was crazy just with everything going on. And there were other opportunities than the ones you just mentioned. So that's what's crazy is every year Kalani's going to get schools that want him to leave. There were those opportunities for assistant coaches every year. It's a weird month for us.
A few years ago, score was 38-31. You walk off the field from a tough rivalry loss to Snow College. And I'm just wondering if every once in a while you think to yourself, man, I learned a lot of resiliency by losing a tough rivalry game to Riley Jensen. Do you think that that's had any influence on you coaching at Michigan?
Did that really happen?
It may not have. Maybe I'm just dreaming.
I don't know. I don't know if I remember it. I do remember this. Riley was an absolute baller in college.
Oh,
a
jeez.
baller. So,
That's not what I was looking for.
Yeah, my first taste of him was my first year at Rick's College. So
no. In all seriousness, no. In all seriousness, I've had a chance to watch you all the way through your career. I did lose a rivalry game to you when you were at the University of Utah. You've been a tremendous coach at BYU and Utah, but one of the places that I really got to watch you and where I really just gained a ton of respect for you was at Weber State. And I can't remember specifically whether it was a Montana game or a Montana State game, but I was interviewing you at halftime, and I've never seen anybody so calm and basically just tell me like, hey, we're going to make this change and this change. And you kind of looked at me with that little grin that you have sometimes. And you were like, we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. And you came out and it was just masterful how you made halftime adjustments. And I think it's one of the things that you are so good at. And I saw you do it at BYU. Now you're going to be taking it to Michigan. What is it that makes you feel so confident about obviously, you put a game plan in to stop from the beginning of the game, but I think you're just masterful at halftime adjustments. How do you do that? What is the process of that as a defensive coordinator?
Well, most of the time in the first half, you've seen the offense do what their main game plan is for you. Mm-hmm. So if you can go in and just tweak and change some of the stuff that you feel like you got to combat it, then that's the idea of halftime adjustments. The other thing is just being able to go into the locker room and look the guys in the eyes and say, okay, here's what we just faced. Here's what's going to happen in the second half. I think that that's a critical component to just good coaching is being able to look those guys in the eyes and know what they need. If a coach goes in there freaking out or they're panicked or they looked worried, then that's going to carry on to the players. You've got to go in there with extreme confidence that you know what's happening, you know what's going to happen, and rally the troops such that you can play in the second half the way you got to play to win.
You look at this football schedule this year, it's wow, this is incredible. You know, Oklahoma's a non-conference game, Penn State, Oregon, Indiana, and obviously the rivalry game to end the season. When you're coaching in a conference, now with the transfer portal, it has changed a fair amount in terms of the changeover from year to year, but there are some familiarities with these teams that you play from one year to the next. And with the big conferences, you don't play the same teams like it used to back when you were coaching earlier and then when you were a player. But I'm wondering, how do you get familiar with all these teams that you haven't faced as a coordinator and you've got to know them inside and out?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've spent the last couple months studying our first two opponents, and then I've spent a ton of time studying Ohio State, and then I spent a lot of time studying Iowa because they're the first Big Ten opponent.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't want to get too far ahead of it because, offenses change from year to year. Coordinators get their flavors of the year, flavor of the game. And you just don't want to get too far ahead of yourself thinking that you're going to study everybody because things do change and coaches change and players change. So that's where I put my focus. Ohio State, because we got to win that game. Iowa, because it's the first Big Ten game, and then the first two opponents because we got to get off to a good start. Other coaches could be different, but that's what I do.
You spent over a decade on Kyle Whittingham's staff, and then obviously you were the head coach at BYU, transitioned to BYU, made them one of the top defenses in the country over the past 3 years. If you think back on your career and on those transitions, what core defensive philosophy has traveled with you through every stop? And is there anything that you've had to change at Michigan, either as far as philosophy goes or personnel?
Well, that's a good question. I watched Kyle when I was a player and a young coach call this defense. I watched Gary Anderson call it. I watched Kalani call it. Everybody puts their own flavor and flair on it. I got to call it at Weber State. And one thing that was cool about that is I could try new things and it might not work. And you know what? Probably nobody knew. And Weber State was so amazing for me because I could really pinpoint and hone in on what I wanted to become as a play caller, as a head coach, as just an assistant coach. I just had so much growth and development. So going back to the question, I believe you got to be able to stop the run. No matter what the offensive scheme is, because they're all different, you got to be able to stop the run. I believe in man coverage when you can do it. Now, I'm not just going to force man just to force it, but I do believe in man coverage because it makes quarterbacks throw tight windows. And if you do it properly with good technique, everybody should be covered. Beyond that, I believe in keeping quarterbacks on their toes and not knowing what's going on in the secondary. So I think we do a good job with disguises. And then I want to keep them on their toes by not knowing if we're in man or cover 2 or cover 3 or whether we're blitzing. So we tried to do a good job of disguising, a good job of mixing it up. So if you're asking me like what I believe in, keep quarterbacks guessing on what's going on, make sure you can play some man coverage, and you got to do things to stop the run.
Jay Hill joining us, Michigan defensive coordinator right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We've often heard, and Urban Meyer talked about this a lot when he was here, is that the ones in a lot of different places, the talent is there, but at some of these places that aren't quite, quote, as big as others, that it is the backups where they suffer. Now, I heard Kyle talk about Michigan, and he felt like you guys had some obviously great talent, but that you may be a little light in the depth, particularly at the secondary. Could you speak to the depth as far as coaching at Michigan and what you see some of the differences are?
Well, there's a couple things that happened here is when everything went down with Coach Moore, a lot of the players went in the portal because of the experience or whatever had happened, and it was the portal window time. And then when we got hired, your main job is to try to get your players that you want to stay out of the portal and back here at Michigan. So some of the depth things he might be talking about were when we first got here, you're fighting the portal. We believe that we'll get here and recruit at an elite level as good as anyone in the country, and we will not be dealing with depth issues for very long. But I can say this, across the country, nobody has the depth, even at the highest level, that they used to have. Like back 10 years ago when Nick Saban was at Alabama, his threes could probably beat most teams' ones. And they never left because, you weren't getting more money somewhere else, or why would you leave to go somewhere that wasn't winning as much? And so Nick Saban and some of those teams back then just were loaded, ones, twos, threes. Their depth was unbelievable. But now it's harder for teams to keep your depth because someone who's sitting as a backup at say, in Alabama, going back to Nick Saban, if you're at Alabama and you're a backup, you might be able to leave somewhere and make $300,000 or $400,000 more by going somewhere else and being a starter.
Right.
And so that's what's created an issue with depth is money. It's harder to keep your backups because they can go somewhere else to be a starter and make starter money.
Is there any difference? I mean, we know that there's expectations. You're at a major blue blood school now. Is there any difference coaching at Michigan compared to Utah, to BYU? Is there any adjustment there, or are you just focused on the same fundamentals that you've always focused on, or does anything change when you're at Michigan?
Well, is there a difference? Yes. Does the process change? Absolutely not. At Utah and BYU, you were playing high caliber, big time football that those guys can go into any stadium in the country and win, and they've proven that both programs. So I don't think the process changes. Now, when you're at Michigan, you're going to play Ohio State, and you're going to have 100 million viewers. I mean, that's different. Mm-hmm. So there are things that are different. There are expectations that outside people, the media, and everybody else put on programs like Michigan. But, I mean, the fans at BYU and Utah, do they expect to win every game? Absolutely. Do the coaches go into every game expecting to win? Absolutely. It doesn't matter who we play. We're going in with the game plan and the process and the thought that we're going to win. Mm-hmm. So that doesn't change from place to place.
What's it like just living there? You've lived so long in Utah, and now you're in Ann Arbor. I assume you've been able to shoot par at Barton Hills Country Club and all that, but I'm just wondering, what's it like to live there?
You know what? Michigan has amazing people. I'd never been much in the Midwest. Amazing people, hardworking, very respectful. Ann Arbor is amazing because it's a very educated city. So much of it revolves around the university, but I've been super happy with the people. I've been elated with the program and the resources and the pride that the people take in Michigan, and not just in Michigan, but nationwide. I mean, our alumni base and fan base is amazing. So there's been so many cool things that this place has and represents, and really it starts with the people, great people.
And then I assume you got the membership at Barton Hills?
I don't have a membership there.
Well, then Kyle better take you.
The thing about golfing.
Yes, golf.
I wish I was a good golfer, but we really get to play about 1 or 2 months out of the year. So we never get our golf games completely greased up.
Well, I saw you that one time at the teed off. You were showing off at Ogden Country Club when we went up there to broadcast when you were at Weber. And you crushed one right down the middle.
Yeah, he's good.
And you didn't even have time to warm up.
You're downplaying this.
I know he is. He's sandbagging the people of Michigan right now.
No, I wish I got to play more, but as a coach, you just never will get that opportunity to play as much as you'd like to.
Hey, so you're sitting after a big win at Lehigh High School with Bart Brockbank and Cole Cooper. And you guys are like really excited about a win. And then you get to the end of the season, you guys end up going and playing college football at different places, and you go different directions. And I know you guys are all still good friends. Is coaching at Michigan something you always thought you were going to do, or is this something that's just evolved as you've coached at, different places? You're like, oh, this could be a possibility, this could be a possibility, and then it just keeps growing on itself? Or was this the plan from day one?
No, I wouldn't necessarily say this was the plan. When I started as a graduate assistant, I wasn't necessarily planning to be a coach, but as as I was coaching through those first 2 years, I was like, I love it. I love it so much. I love the relationships. I love the intensity of it. I love the game days. And then, you know, if you're a competitor, if you're going to do it, you want to do it at the highest level.
Right.
And so there were moments when I was at the University of Utah and I wanted to be a head coach. And so I took the Weaver job. And then I got aching for being back in the big stadiums and the atmospheres. And I went to BYU, and the place was amazing and wonderful. And they treated me so well. And being with Kalani again, just everything was so great. And then opportunities come where luckily I've had success, and I've been able to choose between some good opportunities. But I've always felt like and I say we because the staffs at BYU in Utah, there are coaches there that can coach anywhere in the world. I mean, there are elite coaches on both those staffs. And I felt like if the opportunity came up at the right spot, then I would be willing to leave. But it would have had to have been a right spot, like a Michigan.
And there you are. And we'll be watching, Coach. It's going to be real interesting to see everybody because there's so many Utah connections. We've now got another local team we got to follow, the University of Michigan. It's kind of funny the way it played out. So we'll be following it. And just like everybody else, I'll love you as long as you beat Ohio State.
Well, I love that. And just so you know, the fans are the same way here. If you beat Ohio State, they pretty much love you. The one thing I'm looking forward to, and I can't wait for this, I can't wait to watch the BYU-Utah game. I can't wait to watch how Coach Scally does at Utah, Coach Swan on defense, and like Coach Papinga on defense at BYU. There's so much fun stuff happening in both those programs at BYU. I can't wait, or in Utah. I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait to watch both of them be successful. And now I'm in a spot where I can cheer for them both, which I love. So.
Yeah, there you go. Well, Jay, we appreciate you giving us some time this morning.
Okay, guys. Appreciate you.
Okay.
Take care.
That is Jay Hill. Riley Jensen setting it up with his connections. He's known so many coaches in the state for many, many years and actually competed against them when he was quarterback at Snow and maybe Utah State a little bit there.
Yep.
So that's Jay Hill, now the defensive coordinator for the Michigan Wolverines. It's an incredible thing to say. And I like how he downplays it. Some coaches, you know, everybody's got to have an ego, Riley. But how do players receive it when coaches just deflect? And Kyle did that for so many years. You know, how'd you build a program? His go-to answer is it's all about the players. And as a former player, is that what you want to hear?
Well, like we were talking about with Steve Sarkisian yesterday, if it's authentic, and it is with Jay. Right,
they can sniff it out.
Yeah, you can sniff it out. You hear that crap, and then they come and they're ripping you or moving the goalposts on you. But yeah, you care about the players
because he's out there talking about how you have to, how lucky he was to be in situations to be successful. He's part of the reason why the situations that he was in, if not a significant reason, were successful.
I think the cool thing about Jay, though, is as good as he is, I think he does understand that there is some luck and fortune to the timing of things that happen to you. I don't think that takes away from your hard work ethic and all the things that you put into it. But, you know, when I was growing up, I used to watch John Elway on TV with my dad. Uh-huh. And he's like, hey, just so you know, Riley, for every John Elway in the league, there's two more that were just as good that didn't make it. I'm like, Dad, you don't know what you're talking about. You are crazy as you can be. And then as I've grown up and as I've played college football and as I've seen certain guys and certain coaches and different things happen, there is some fortune every once in a while too. And it's not even guys that like mess it up. It's just like some guys get in the right line at the right place at the right time and everything aligns. And it doesn't take away from how good these other quarterbacks were that maybe didn't make it. It just means that they were in the wrong line at the wrong time and somehow it didn't work out the way it was supposed to. And so for somebody like Jay to recognize that, I mean, he even just said it in the interview about how many good coaches there are that could coach anywhere in the world on the two staffs at BYU. He really believes that.
Yeah,
That's
right,
not something that he's just throwing out there.
Right.
And he feels very fortunate and very blessed. And I think that's why it's so easy to cheer for a guy like Jay.
Yeah, no question.
He's just and when he deflects, like he even deflected on his golf game. I mean, he can flat out mash the ball in golf.
I've seen it.
You know, he's when I was at Weber. When he was at Weber, I'm still at Weber. I'd come walking up right by the volleyball building to go talk to the volleyball team, and he's in one of the most competitive pickleball games that you can even imagine with like three other guys on the staff because they have these little pickleball courts by the volleyball. And I'm like, dude is flat out competing at 40. He's 51. He's a year younger than me, and he's flat out competing over a pickleball game. And it was like must see lunchtime behavior for Weber State football staff. Like they played pickleball every day in the spring at 12 to like 1:30, and it was hardcore. And it's just how he is, and the players love him because he's authentic. Jay's authentic. We talked about that yesterday. He's real to who he is.
All right, there you go. All right, Riley Jensen, it has been a fine Thursday down here at BYU. Their football media day, getting ready for the season. Camp opens next week. We've been getting a lot of feedback. People are excited. That's a great thing about it. Yeah, I think you can speak to this, how much this market has grown into loving college football. You know, when I first got here, didn't know a whole lot about Utah as a state, didn't know a whole lot about Utah as a football program, didn't know a whole lot about USU, knew a little bit about BYU because they were on TV and they had a Heisman Trophy winner and whatnot. But you grew up here. You can speak to the development of football in this state of Utah, which I think is really cool.
I don't think there's any question. When I was growing up, BYU football had its pocket where we loved all the quarterbacks and they were really good and it was fun. But my mom used to call all the gyms that are in these churches. She said they were never in the churches until Danny Ainge hit that shot over Irma. So she calls since the church got all these basketball courts, she calls them Danny Ainge gyms.
Oh, nice.
It's just like so.
Yeah.
And we were full of them growing up, right? And it was great because in the winter there's not a lot to do around here. If you're not a skier, you're gonna go to the church. You're gonna shoot some shots. But since 1989, when I was a sophomore in high school, compared to now, this state has totally turned into a football state. I think there's a couple of things that have happened. I think the 1996 Cotton Bowl helped. I think the Sugar Bowl from the University of Utah, the Fiesta Bowl from the University of Utah. Those were some really, really big things happen. And then moving into some of these bigger conferences where bigger names come into the stadium, I think we are at a fever pitch right now. And it is a wonderful time to watch football, to be around football, and to see football, not only on the college level, but the high school level is phenomenal right now. There are so many good players in this state. And I give Ron McBride and Lavelle Edwards a lot of credit for that because not only did they bring in the Polynesian nation into the state, a lot of the players that played for those two coaches have stayed here and have kids that are phenomenal football players. Then you combine that with the people that were already here, and it's so every weekend during the football season. I'm so jacked up for football season right now. I can't even believe it. I'm so pumped to watch high school football and college football every weekend. I've told you this in the past, and you guys make fun of me, but when you can start to hear the crickets outside, it's football season.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, the crickets don't come out till after like the 24th of July. And as soon as they come out and I hear them, I'm like, oh man, it's here. And then I can start to smell the grass. Then you can hear like the local team when you're driving past, and you can hear the whistles and you can hear teams practicing. You see the little league guys out there. You're here at this BYU event and there's all kinds of walking legends around. I just saw Coach Papunu. I mean, he used to score touchdowns for the San Diego Chargers and
That's a fact.
break open the football like a coconut and drink the coconut milk, right? And I mean, I'm just looking at all these guys and I'm just like, man, that guy was so good. And I'll bet you, and then I'll purposely look at a young guy that's like 18, 19 years old here. I'm like, he has no idea how good that guy is standing right next to him.
Right.
That guy was unreal.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm fired up for football season. It's so fun.
You know, I'm with you too, man. And college football and high school football. I'll check out games. And I'm going to check out Weber State more this year.
Yeah, because
I got
you have a
personal
relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you are. In fact, you have that high school like shirt on right now, Coral Canyon. Like they are.
Who would ever call it coral? Who would ever call it coral?
Don't act
Canyon
like you never did.
Derisively.
Don't
Yeah,
act
because
like you never
Because you
did.
asked me to. Because you were at Alta and you hated
did
that.
it. You don't have any choice. You don't have any choice.
Well, I was with
you
my
said
friend.
it. You said it.
I was with my friend at the time. Now,
Jackie,
now
I can't do this every morning.
Now
I
you're
can't
my
do this
enemy.
every morning.
You're my enemy now.
I'm not your enemy.
No, Corner Canyon.
Coral Canyon. That's what you called it
is
forever.
the dominant program
Until your
in
wife
the
worked at that
state.
school, you were as snarky as I am about that school.
Right. And then I got traded, and it was a great trade.
Now you're best friends.
I wear Corner Canyon gear every day of the week, and I
Right.
never have to wash it anymore.
Well, let me get you some Weber State gear now,
All right,
since you guys are best friends.
He's my guy.
He's your guy.
I'm pulling for.
He's your guy.
I'm pulling for Care all the
He
way.
likes Jackie way more than he likes you.
I don't think he likes me. How about my slogan for Weber State? Pass with care.
I think we could work that a little bit more, but I kind of like it.
Yeah,
I kind of like
go
what
up
you're
there
doing.
and tell them that. Because
Yeah,
obviously
pass
that's
with
a
care.
freeway sign, and care doesn't spell the same, but it's
Yeah,
pronounced the
and
same.
you kind of make like one of those yellow signs that say "Pass with care."
Yeah.
Oh, I like
use it. You guys can use it.
I
I'll
like
give
it.
to
I
you.
like it. I like it.
Okay, coming up next, we were going to have Scotty G and the coach. And the good news is today's Thursday. Riley Jensen will be back with us tomorrow
Let's
on Friday.
go.
All right.
Let's go.
Stay with us, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.